One of the biggest things that'll throw your rhythm off and make you feel completely lost when you're trying to play along with a song is something called a rhythmic push. You know, everything's humming along just fine. You know, the strumming's good, you're switching chords on the beat, and then boom, there's a rhythmic push. And you get completely derailed. Now you're off the tracks, you know, 1 or 2 beats behind the song, trying to figure out what went wrong. So ultimately, by learning to feel these pushes and taking just a couple minutes to focus on them, you'll have one less thing to worry about when you're trying to play along to the entire song. Now, real quick before we get started, if you find lessons like this helpful, make sure to grab my free ebook. It's full of beginner-friendly tips for chords, strumming, you know, everything you need. There's a link for your copy down below. So let's talk about what a rhythmic push actually is. Most of the time when you're strumming, you expect the chord changes to happen right on the beat. A rhythmic push is when a chord change, or even a melody note, happens just before the beat instead of right on it. It's subtle, but it completely shifts the feel, and if you're not ready for it, it can totally throw you off. Let me show you what that sounds like using No Woman, No Cry by Bob Marley. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there, every chord was landing exactly where you'd expect it, right on beat 1. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing surprising. Now, listen to how it feels in the actual song. 2, 3, 4. Did you hear that F chord come in before the next full beat? It's a little bit early, and that is a push. So how do we fix this? How do we practice this? Like with most other things, we remove the variables, isolate the push, and practice it on its own. Let's start with a simplified version of the No Woman, No Cry progression. The push happens from A minor to F, and the first step would be to make sure you can play that in the normal way. You know, just do your strumming pattern 1 time on each chord. And you're switching cleanly on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And by the way, I have a full lesson for this if you want to learn the actual song. I'll put a link to that in the corner. Either way, that's very straightforward. Now, we'll try it the real way with the push. Now, before you try it, let's break that down. We're switching to F before beat 1, which is where you'd normally expect it, and instead we're playing it on beat 4. And this kind of cuts our A minor short and makes F a little bit longer. Now, when I teach songs on this channel that feature a push, I normally just write out an exact strumming pattern that we can follow that covers the entire 2 measures, like I did in my full lesson for this song. But in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to figure it out for yourself. First, we're going to write out our regular strumming pattern with no pushes underneath each chord. Then we're going to move the F ahead to beat 4 of the previous measure. And finally, we're going to take a look at the strokes, the strumming right before F and the strumming right after, and reduce it a little bit to let that push stand out a bit better. It is that simple. So we moved it over to beat 4 and we have a down up. Let's get rid of that up. Let's just play down on F on beat 4. And then on the measure afterwards, if we play that downstroke on beat 1, I feel like it kind of takes away from the push. You know, it sounds like this. That doesn't feel as good as when you give it even more space. So we take that beat 1 downstroke away. And to me, that just feels so much better. So you write it out normally, you move the F chord ahead, you reduce the strokes, you end up with this, and then you loop it a few times, just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, Now, if that feels weird, like you're rushing or stumbling, that's totally normal. The more you isolate that push, repeat it, the more natural it starts to feel. And once you're comfortable with that, I would practice it with a metronome, get it up to speed, and then I would incorporate it into the entire progression. And that's it. And that's how you make the push feel natural, by practicing it outside the full song until your hands and ears get it. Now, if you want to get better at feeling rhythmic pushes, the next thing you can do is play real songs that use them, because once you start listening for it, you'll notice it's everywhere. We've been working with No Woman, No Cry, which is a great example, but here are a few more that are super useful for practicing this. I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty. No, I won't back down. And this one's pretty simple, it's just a single push and it goes with the word down. So it's not too hard to grasp. I find it's almost easier if you sing it a little bit. There's also by Tom Petty, Free Fallin'. That has a lot of pushes, but they happen so often that you can get used to it pretty quick, Definitely trickier than I Won't Back Down, though. Now, Wonderwall by Oasis, that has a pretty consistent push built into the strumming pattern. And that's a great way to practice that forward momentum that we get with the push without changing the chords early, because the rhythm itself has that push baked in. And finally, just for a challenge, More Than Words. And this one comes with a warning. It's got a lot of rhythmic pushes, some in the chords, some in the vocals. It's not exactly what I would call beginner friendly, but if you want a challenge, this is a masterclass in feel. So, rhythmic pushes, they're small, but they're powerful. And if you don't recognize them, they can throw you off. But now you've isolated it, you've practiced it, you've felt it. And the next time you hear that kind of groove in a song, you're going to know exactly what's happening and how to stay right in the pocket. It only takes a couple of minutes to build that awareness, but it can make a huge difference in your ability to lock in with the song. Thanks for watching. If you want more lessons like this, where we take a specific technique or challenge and break it down piece by piece, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button so that I know this is helping you. And if you want full access to all my courses, play-alongs, downloads, song breakdowns, check out the All Access Pass. It's the best way to take your playing further, faster. I'll put a link to that down below, along with my free ebook. Have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.